Right, so this video is about lockdown, right? Lockdown being a code, right? And appears to be a totally coded word and not a phrase, right? Lockdown. And first thing about it, right, is you had this economist bloke called John Locke, right? John Locke. And what he was about three principles or something, economic principles, something like that, to do with like freedom of men or something, right? So you're talking about, there could be eroding freedoms under the sort of guise of this, obviously sort of, this contrived hex about this sort of coronavirus, right? So you got that John Locke idea, right? So then what you've got also, right, is the sort of tie-in with the scapegoat. So you've got a sort of lock, because when the sort of boot the scapegoat out the gates and then lock the gates behind them, right? So you've got the sort of scapegoat idea in there. Dealing with the scapegoats, which is the natural peoples, right? Then, as we know, these type of hexes are very well thought out, multi-layered, and a lot of thought must go into them and all that. You know what I mean? Obviously, well planned and ahead and in advance and all that, right? Then you've got the sort of down idea, right? The lockdown, right? So you've got the down is like I've done in a previous video about the sort of the 5-pointed star, the inverted pentagram, where the sort of the star direction is pointing down. So again, this is to do with the the scapegoat idea, pointing downwards, right? They're always trying to send you down, the heaven and hell idea, and down in the dumps, depression type of thing. And the idea of the depression, right, also ties in with the economic, because you have economic depression and all that, right? And the sort of the economic depressions, right, usually precede a war type idea, right? So you had like in not sure about the First World War, but in the Second World War you had this sort of idea of the economic depression, which led into the sort of war. And so you have like the down idea, right? So they point in a direction down, right? And depression type of thing, right, leads to anger type of thing, right? So there's a good chance, right, there could be priming for the sort of war scenario, because when you sort of push people down with a depression, the next phase is like anger. So it's like and then they can foist a war upon the populace, because they're in a state of mental depression. So and then they break the depression with an anger, sort of banging the war drums idea. See, get people out there, after blood, out for anger. So it's perfect to foist a war on them. See what I'm saying? Then they produce the sort of enemy or whatever, or the sort, and then get public support, or what seems like public support. See? So it's like that type idea. The sort of the LUR itself, right? The lock, right? You've got the LUR for your sort of L being the sort of flipped around 7, right? So 7 UR is your 7-7, right? Your CK for your 33, and then your down idea. See what I'm saying? So it's obviously coded in the usual codes and that, right? and it's interesting. I was watching the video which was mirrored by Matrix Breakout and Ye-Man, right? Which was a video by some bloke, right? But it seemed like a good video at first and that, but I noticed some funny things about it, right? Because if you take that video and that bloke is sort of he's on the sort of anger tip, right? He's sort of on the anger tip where he's sort of saying things like what are the people going to take the streets with pea shooters and all this, right? So it's like that sort of banging the war drums type of thing, right? So that video is most likely by a Masonic agent, right? I mean, in my opinion, like anyway, right? So the depression, see, the depression leads into anger, right? To break the depression with anger, to prepare for the next phase, see, you get your economic depression in place, right? like the John Locke economy, right? Then you go on for the next phase, which is to fight the war. See, get the public support for the war. So obviously a World War III scenario is pretty much on the cards, has been for a long time and all that. See what I'm saying? This would be like a good primer for that. Yeah. See what I mean? So very coded, as always.